So something really remarkable just happened yesterday. Yesterday, we heard about a leaked transcript of a call between Ushakov and Dmitriev. And it's really remarkable. Like, why would you leak that? Or why would you even say things on a phone if it could be leaked? Because, things are being recorded. And then why would it be leaked? Who stands to benefit? And that's the really interesting question I'll get to at the very end. I'm just trying to piece it together. So, I'm open to revision if you have insights, and you put in the comments below. Okay, let's start here. The White House is concerned that Putin may reject the revised peace plan, according to the New York Times. Well, Putin's going to reject it. He's already essentially rejected the 24 peace plan, that's the European plan, the 19 revised plan, that's the revised one, the 28 plan he was already starting to reject, and this is the nail in the coffin to reject it. That's what this is. Is it a leak, or is it planted? I say it's planted. Okay, let's look at this. Christopher Miller says, he's from the Financial Times, remarkable story, stunning stuff, even if it's what we have come to expect from Witkoff. Here, he explicitly advises Russian officials how Putin should deal with Trump. Wait, he's supposed to be working on the behalf of the United States, not on the behalf of Russia, and also shows a staggering fundamental misunderstanding of Putin's goals and the war. So we'll get to Witkoff and what he was advising in just a moment. But first, let's look at this. U.S. President Envoy Steve Witkoff advised Russia on how to pitch Ukraine's plan to Trump in audio files reviewed by Bloomberg. So they got the audio, we see the transcript, and it's pretty crazy. Taragami, a intel specialist in Ukraine, put this out. I correctly concluded this days ago before the leak, just a bit of Occam's razor, deductive reasoning, and a plethora of indirect evidence was enough. And he said on November 22nd, it's now the 26th, to Kirill. Kirill posted this: facts, Ukraine leaked the U.S. peace plan through Deputy Honcharenko. No, they didn't do it. It looks like it was either Kirill or maybe Jared Kushner that has done it. We're not sure. It's one of those two, and that's as close as we can get. A U.S. official confirmed to the Wall Street Journal that this leaked plan points change from an audit to an all international aid to full amnesty. That was in that article as well. And Russia did not leak the plan or its existence. They lie. And they lie about lying. And they know that they're lying, and they know that we know that they're lying, and they still lie anyway, as Solzhenitsyn said. Okay, so Tatarigami said, no, Kirill, you brought an auto-translated proposal from the Kremlin to negotiations. Then you shared your version of the list with Ravid, that's the journalist, and told him as if this were exclusive insider information. He happily shared it, knowing it was going to be sensational material. And that's roughly what happened. Whether it was Kirill or whether it was Kushner, we're not sure, but it looks like that's how it got out there. Okay, then Bloomberg revealed that Steve Witkoff, this is what I was just talking about, held a phone call with Putin's top foreign policy aide, Ushakov, in mid-October, advising how to approach Trump with a joint Ukraine peace plan. Witkoff suggested flattering Trump over his Gaza deal and referencing a 20-point peace plan as a way to gain traction. This conversation appears to have laid the groundwork for what later became the 28-point U.S. peace proposal. Trump confirmed he was aware of Witkoff's efforts and defended them, calling it standard negotiation. Okay. And follow-up, Witkoff met with Kremlin advisor Kirill Dmitriev in Miami, where the Russian side aimed to push a version of the deal closely aligned with Moscow's interest, and then they just kind of adopted it as a U.S. plan. Okay. Although Kyiv resisted core elements, it is still won concessions after talks with Secretary of State Rubio. Still, the recordings and the meeting trail shows how deeply coordinated parts of the plan were with Russian inputs, raising major concerns over impartiality. Like, if the U.S. is trying to be a referee, it sure seems to have its finger on the side, holding down the scale on the side of the Russians. Okay. The U.S. peace plan was based on a document passed to Washington from Moscow, according to Reuters. Everybody now sees that. I was talking about this days ago. Don't call it the Trump plan or the U.S. plan. It's really a Russian plan that Trump just kind of said, yeah, sure, that's our plan. Let's go with it. Okay, the document contained provisions Moscow had previously put forward in negotiations, including demands for the transfer of a significant part of Ukrainian territory. We all know that part so far. Okay, this is where it starts to pick up now. Read a transcript of an October 29th phone call between Ushakov, Putin's most senior foreign policy advisor, and Kirill Dmitriev. Okay, Bloomberg published this transcript of this phone call. They discussed a plan to pass Moscow's peace proposal to the United States so that Washington could present the ideas as its own. Okay, and here is the transcript. So let's read some of this. Ushakov, hello, Dmitriev. Yuri Viktorovich. Ushakov, yes, Kirill Androvovich. Well, I sent everything over there. We will be talking tomorrow. Dmitriev, great, great. Yes, yes, yes. I've flown to Saudi Arabia, but I think it's very important. Yes, because this is a good path forward. Ushakov, well, we need to do it to the maximum. What do you think? Probably. But what exactly to pass along like that? Dmitriev, no, look. I think we should take this paper and frame it as our position and just hand it over informally, saying all of this is informal, and let them, listen to this is the important part, and let them make it their own. But I doubt they'll take our version exactly, but at least as close as possible to it. That's what they're going for, taking their plan, letting the U.S. make it their plan, and running with it and saying, this is the U.S. plan. What can we do? This is what we have to do. Okay, Ushakov, that's just the thing. They might not take it and then claim it's coordinated with us. That's what I'm afraid of. Dmitriev, no, no, no. This will definitely be straight from me. Together with you, I'll say it word for word, just as you instruct. So again, Dmitriev seems to work for Ushakov as far as the pecking order here. Ushakov, they could twist it later and that's it. Well, there's that risk. There is. All right, whatever. We'll see. Dmitriev, yeah, I think just like that. And then you can also talk to Steve, that's Steve Witkoff, about this paper, meaning we'll handle it carefully. Ushakov said something inaudible, and Dmitriev says, thank you very much, Yuri Viktorovich. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Okay, so they're planning on, so he's going to have this conversation with Witkoff next. Okay, so that's what this is. Part of a transcript call between Witkoff and Ushakov. Witkoff says, I would make the call and just reiterate that you're congratulating the president. And Ushakov says, I agree. I'm sorry, this is not, it's Witkoff and Ushakov. Ushakov is this guy. Okay, so here it is. Steve Witkoff says, Yuri, here's what I would do. My recommendation, yes, please. I would make the call and just reiterate that you congratulate the president on this achievement, that you supported it, that you respect, and that he's a man of peace, and that you're really just glad to see it happen. I would say that. I think from that, it's going to be a really good call. Because let me tell you what I told the president. I told the president that you, the Russian Federation, has always wanted a peace deal. That's not true. They haven't always wanted a peace deal. In fact, my argument is going to be that they're trying to scuttle a peace deal. That's my belief. I told the president, I believe that. And I believe the question is, the issue is that we have two nations that are having a hard time coming to a compromise. And when we do, we're going to have a peace deal, which is, again, music to Trump's ears. I'm even thinking that maybe we set it out like the 20-point peace proposal, just like we did in Gaza. We put a 20-point Trump plan together that was 20 points for peace. And I'm thinking maybe we do the same thing with you. Okay, my point is this. Okay, my friend. I think very good, very point our leaders could discuss. Hey, Steve, I agree with you that he will congratulate. He will say, Mr. Trump is a real peace man. And so on and so. And he will say, okay, so that's what the conversation was, as Witkoff is guiding him on how to manipulate Trump. Fascinating. Okay, while that's going on, and this is just commentary, but put these two items together. Zelensky's giving a heartfelt speech to his people about the possibility of losing U.S. support, and Witkoff and Ushakov are laughing at this ambush of Zelensky in the Oval Office. And here's one more thing Steve Witkoff says to Ushakov. Zelensky's coming to the White House on Friday. I know that. Okay. That's the kind of thing that's happening behind closed doors. Now, who's Ushakov? If you're not familiar with him, that's okay. Putin's top aide, Ushakov, told Russia TV he didn't know how these recordings leaked. So he's in the recordings and he doesn't know, how did these get out there? Except he knows that they're being recorded. He's no fool. He knows what's going on. And it seems like, and this is only speculation, I can't actually prove it, I can only see indirectly, he may have been the leaker, or his side, he knows the Russian side, may have been the leaker, adding that he speaks with Witkoff regularly, but he does not comment on their conversations. Says here, I will not comment on that. This is on X, and Kirill Dmitriev right after that is replying to this, yes, and this is a well-funded, well-organized, malicious media machine built to spread fake narratives, smear opponents, and keep people confused. Well, he's right. This all is a well-funded, well-organized, malicious media campaign built to spread fake narratives, spear opponents, and keep people confused. But it's coming from the people that are doing the leaking, it appears. Okay. So Ushakov, he's no fool. He's a top aide of Putin, but he also spent, did you know this? He spent 9 years in the United States. What was he doing in the United States? He was the ambassador of Russia to the United States from 1999 to 2008. He knows the Americans pretty well. Putin aide Yuri Ushakov called the leaked chat with the United States envoy Witkoff very unusual. How did that leak? Blaming WhatsApp, saying it leaked through there when I'm pretty sure that it did. I mean, I'd be willing to bet you, even though I can't prove it. And hinting someone wanted it exposed. Well, someone did want it exposed, but for what purposes? And what interest does it serve? Well, it serves and scuttling the negotiations that are going on right now. He claimed neither side wanted the leak, but compared it to the Flynn case. By the way, the Flynn case, they were dealing with the Russians, suggesting that Witkoff might have enemies in D.C. It's not Witkoff. I don't think that's it. Somebody is listening. Somebody's leaking, but not us, they say. Yuri Ushakov, Putin's aide, and one of the figures mentioned in the Bloomberg leak indirectly confirmed that he spoke by phone with Witkoff. Unlike Dmitriev, he did not deny the outlet's information or called it fake. Dmitriev initially called it a fake. He said that someone somewhere is leaking the contents of such conversations to disrupt efforts to establish contacts between Russia and the United States. Quote, I often speak with Witkoff, but I don't comment on the content. I can talk on the phone with anyone, including Dmitriev. Why is my conversation with Dmitriev of interest? Someone is listening. Someone is leaking, but not us. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Putin's negotiations leader, Kirill Dmitriev, responded to the Bloomberg leaks with a series of posts accusing the warmongers and war profiteers of trying to sabotage the U.S.-led peace effort. This is trying to make it look like we're really trying to get to peace. They're not really trying to get the peace, or if they are, like, it would be a coup to get the Donbass, but that would be a temporary peace, but okay. He claims media attacks are driven by those who benefit from continued conflict, but insists truth and peace will prevail. Okay, that's what they want to put out there, and they're doing a good job of getting that message across. Okay, here's Anton Gerashenko giving his summary thoughts, and I'm going to kind of end with this kind of thing. It's very possible that the conversation between Steve Witkoff and Putin's aide Ushakov has been leaked by Russians. It's obvious that they make recordings of all conversations. Why would they do it? Interesting question. Let's think about that. To stop negotiations from happening, that would hurt the negotiations. To compromise the U.S. aid, President Trump personally, and destabilize political field in the U.S. And this is going to be a big scandal. And to bring arguments between the U.S., Ukraine, and Europe, and that's going to be happening. Create informational chaos. That's all those things are fallout of this. Now, here's the conclusion. Putin doesn't want negotiations, but he doesn't want to declare this up front. He doesn't want to actually get to a deal, is what he's saying, but he doesn't want to say he doesn't want to get to a deal. He wants to keep fighting. So he needs global scandal in the United States. What do you think about this? This seems fairly reasonable to me. Here it is again. Russia's 28-point peace plan was a trap, and it worked. Even if talks stall, Moscow has made its proposal the baseline for negotiation. This is what I was talking about the other day that I'm afraid of. It's going to anchor them on this kind of proposal rather than on the European proposal, which would be a much better place to move from. So they've chipped away at some of the worst elements, but they're still working from this as a starting point, and that's absolutely tragic. It can get much worse for Ukraine and Europe. I don't know that it will. I think Rubio has blunted it. Okay, before I go on to the very last bit, Lynn Goolsby, the graduate Patreon supporter, thank you for your support. I'll leave you with this. I don't know what's worse, people who lie or people who think I'm stupid enough to believe their lies. Now, I don't know what has actually transpired here, so I'm willing to say I was wrong. I thought it was this and it was that. Put in the comments what you think has happened here. Why was the recording leaked? It was leaked, but was it leaked because it was something like it was leaked and they didn't know, or was it leaked because it was actually planted? And that's my argument here. I think maybe it's planted. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments. Thank you for the time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person who cares about Ukraine.